Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. If you are coming across my video for the very first time, you're welcome. My name is Juliet. Kindly consider subscribing. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to make female trousers in very simple steps. First, let's start with the measurements. So here I have something tied on the waist of this mannequin. We're going to use this to demonstrate, and we're also tying another rope on the hip line. This is going to help guide us. This is very important if you use it. So make sure the rope on the hip side is on the fullest part of the hip. And then after that, it's time to measure. I am measuring the waist like so. So I'm using the measurements you see on the screen is the actual measurements I'm going to be using and not the size of the mannequin. So I measured the waist. I have 36 inches. I am going to be working with hip measurement of 47 inches. Make sure you are measuring around the fullest part of the hip. So the next measurement we'll be needing is the thigh measurement. So measure around the fullest part of your thigh. For me, I have 29 inches. Next is the knee round measurement. For me, I have 20 inches. And then the ankle measurement is completely optional, especially if you're going for a straight leg pant or palazzo. The next measurement is the waist to hip measurement. For me, I have 9 inches. And then you also need the waist to knee measurement. I have 22 inches for that. And the full length. So for this full length, it's advisable you wear heels when you're taking that measurement and just measure to the floor, especially for a palazzo pant. The next measurement we need is the crotch length and the crotch depth. I'm going to show you how I calculate that when we start cutting. Some people do this, but I don't. I will show you how I do it in a minute. So first here I have my paper. I used my thigh measurement divided by 2 plus 2 inches for the width of this paper, which is all we need. If you are using your fabric, that is the measurement you will use to fold. Next now is the length. So the full length I'm working with is 45 plus extra 2 inches for folding. So I'm just going to mark the actual length, which is 45 inches from the top. Also notice that I didn't leave out any inches at the top. I'm measuring from the beginning of the paper all the way to where my length is, my full length is. So next now I'm connecting that into a straight line. Now it's time to mark the waist to hip measurement. I'm marking 9 inches from the top. As you can see, I'm going to mark the same thing on this side, 9 inches, and then using my ruler, I will connect into a straight line. Next, I am marking the crotch depth. So what I do is divide my hip measurement into 4. This is the formula that always works, it never goes wrong. So hip measurement divided by 4. For me, it's 11.75. So I rounded that up to 12. So I marked 12 inches for the crotch depth. The next now I am marking the knee length. So from the waist to the knee, I'm marking 22 inches. So that's the knee. And then this is the full length. Next now I am going to mark the hip measurement. So on this crotch line, I'm marking hip measurement divided by 4 plus 2 inches. So 1 inch for ease and the other 1 inch for joining together for sewing. So hip divided by 4 plus 2 inches. I'm marking the same thing on this upper part and I'm going to connect into a straight line. So next now I am going to make a curve like so. If you don't have this curved ruler, just use your free hand. Make a smooth curve like so on your pattern, and then it's time to mark the waist measurement. So the waist measurement divided by 4 plus extra 1 inch for that and another 1 inch for seam allowance. After marking that, we are going to connect that waist, that point to the hip line. Next now, we are going to get the midpoint of this crotch line all the way. You can get that by simply folding your tip into two and getting that point. So we're going to be marking this midpoint to the hem of the trousers. After that, I will use my ruler, as you can see, to connect in a straight line all the way down, except for the allowance on the lower part. Next now, I'm going to be marking the dart. So up here, I'm going to mark my bust span measurement, which is 5 inches. And then the length of my dart, I'm using 4.5 inches. So I marked 5 inches in from that crotch line, from that center front in, like so. And then I marked 4.5 inches down. So at the upper part here, I'm marking half inch on both sides. I'll connect in a slant like so. This is the dart. Next now on the knee part, we're going to divide our knee round measurement into two. For me, that is 20, so divided by 2 is 10. So from that 10, I marked 5 on one side and then 5 on the other side. Also, you can add half inch of ease on both sides or even 1 inch depending on how full you want it to be. So you can make it 6 on one side of that line and then 6 on the opposite side. So the same measurement I have on the knee line is the same thing I marked on the hem line. Now if you're going for that palazzo look, you can just take your measurement from the crotch line all the way to the hem without any shaping. But I want it to be a bit fitted on the upper side, so we are shaping the knee part. So you can just take it straight down from the hip as well. Like in this case, you will not need to mark any other thing after marking the upper part, the hip and then the waist and the dart. Every other thing will remain the same. So after marking, I went ahead to blend the sharp corners like so. And this is it for the front piece. Now if you also want a pantsuit trouser, maybe you want your ankle to be slimmer than it is, you don't want it straight from the knee down, you can also take it in. You can use about 12 inches for your ankle round measurement, in which case you'll be marking 6 inch 3 inches on both sides of the middle line. Next now I am cutting, as you can see. This is for the front. If you are making a palazzo, you will not need to shape in, just from the crotch take it straight down and you have your palazzo pant. Now on this hemline, I am going to fold in the seam allowance. This helps when you are about to fold, so you don't have the inner part smaller than the outer part. It just helps with the folding. So fold it in and then cut it that way. So this is it for the front piece. Next we are going to place it on the another piece, which will be the back, and then trace out the same shape. But what I did was leave 2 inches at the top, 2 inches at the top like so, then 3 inches on the side, that's the crotch side, and then 1 inch on this hip side. Now on the crotch side, to know how many inches you can add there, just divide your hip measurement by 20. So I divided 47 by 20, it gave me 2.35. I just rounded that up to be 3 inches and I marked on that extension. So on this upper part, I am going to go in by 2 inches like so. And then already we left 2 inches at the top. So we're going to connect that back to the crotch line. So if you're on the slimmer side, you can actually go up by 1.5 inches and that will be fine. But for someone with the measurement of mine, 2 inches is just perfect. Now from this upper part, we're going to mark the waist measurement again. Waist divided by 4 plus 1 inch for that, another 1 inch for ease. So for me, it's 11 inches. So from that slant, I measured in the slant back to the front waistline and then I marked, as you can see. This is it. So next time I am marking the dart again, my bust span measurement, which is 4.5 plus half inch allowance, making it 5 inches. And then the dart length I still used 4.5. Next I will mark half inch on both sides and then connect back to the dart length like so. So next now on this cross line, we're going to come down by half inch. This helps with the feet a bit, especially as regards to sitting down and the back side and everything. So just come down by half inch and blend back into the crotch line like so. And then on this hip lines, hip side, I marked 1 inch. I'm going to connect that to the waist. And then every other thing, we are just going to be adding 1 inch on both sides. So on the knee line, 1 inch out, and then 1 inch out on this side as well. The same thing for the crotch line and also the hem of the trouser. So remember to get the crotch extension for the back, just divide your hip measurement by 20. Whatever you get, you mark it there. So here I'm marking 1 inch again. And we're going to also mark 1 inch on the hem side as well. So if you're still watching at this point, kindly give this video a like so that others can also see it. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. And if you're yet to subscribe, please hit on the subscribe button. Thank you. So next now it's time to cut. This is basically it for the back pattern. Very simple, very straight to the point. So we're going to be cutting like so. So after cutting, it's time to place on the fabric and cut. But that will be in our next video, as this video is already getting too long. So this is our front and back pieces together. I see you in my next video. Check the link in the description. Thank you.